When I turned 21, one of the first things that I did was fill out the application for my concealed carry permit. Then I turned around and went to our local gun store and I picked up this little beauty, the 9mm Baby Eagle. I freaking love this gun. It is heavy, it's well balanced, it's built really well, it's reliable. Never had a single issue with this gun. I've had it for almost 20 years. God damn, I'm getting old. Never had a problem with it, ever. Other than the fact that it's heavy. I think I carried this as a daily carry for a little over 10 years before I started looking into other guns, trying to get something that was going to be a little bit lighter and a little easier to conceal. Of course, I tried Glocks. Never really liked the way that they fit my hand. I tried the Springfield XDs. There's a whole handful of other guns that I tried before I actually landed on the Smith & Wesson M&P as being my preferred carry gun. And of all that time, most of the guns that I was jumping back and forth between were all 9mm. There are a couple 45s in there here and there, but I have always just preferred the 9mm round. Cost, lack of recoil, there's a lot of reasons for it, but 9 is definitely my preferred round. So for the last couple years, I've been trying to learn a little bit more about the 1911 platform. It's not that I didn't know anything about them before, it's just a gun that I wasn't really comfortable with. So whenever I'm not comfortable with something, that just means I need to learn more about it. 1911s, of course, are what we're here to talk about today. So this right here is Rock Island Armory's double stack 10mm 1911. One of the things that I've really learned in the last few months especially is that 1911 guys tend to be really picky about brands. I've actually removed myself from several 1911 and 2011 groups over the last several months. One of the things that I'm not real into is the way that a lot of people just turn their nose up at any of the budget brand 1911 and 2011s. One of the brands that gets slammed quite a bit online is Rock Island Armory. They are manufactured in the Philippines, then they're imported in the US, and they come with a really reasonable price tag actually. Seriously, look them up online. This Rock Island Armory 10mm runs right around the $700 to $800 range, depending on where it is that you're ordering it from. In the 1911 and 2011 world, $800 is really pocket change. So, what are you getting for your $800 with this gun? You're getting quite a bit actually. This gun comes with fully adjustable rear sights and fiber optic front right out of the gate, so there's no upgrade necessary as far as that goes. Now if you've never used a fiber optic front post, you don't know what you're missing. Go ahead and order one, install it on your gun, because they'll literally change your life. So this model is the HC model, which is the high capacity. Magazine is 16+1, so you've got 17 in there. If you ask me, 17 rounds is a hell of a lot better than the standard for a 1911, which is what, like 7 rounds? After carrying Smith & Wesson M&P for so long, I just can't get down with 7 rounds in my gun. I've got to have 16 or 17 in there. So straight out of the box, this thing comes with the somewhat slim flared magwell. I love magwells. I don't know. Having that little ledge right there for the pinky, it just feels about as stable as it can possibly get while shooting. So it's nice that this model does come with that. You're getting a lot of extra stabilization, and your mag changes are so much smoother with a flared magwell than they are with just a standard friggin' grip. Now I am going to complain for a second about this magwell. You know me, I'm going to point out the good and the bad. So most magwells out there are only attached at the rear. There's no front attachment point, and this is no different. So it's got just a little bit of movement. It's not a huge deal. The magwell still works well. Like I said, you're going to find that with almost every magwell that's out there on the market. Don't get me wrong, it's not horrible. It's not going to mess up your grip. It's not going to come popping off. It's just one of those little things that I wish manufacturers would stop doing. Their engineers have to know that it works this way. Stop doing it. Just put a pin in the back, put a pin in the front so that it's stable, for Christ's sakes. It's not that hard. Just do it. All right, just so we don't have a flood of comments down in the comment section, it is fully clear. The ambidextrous safety on here isn't bad. It's easy to reach. It's got a nice positive click. With a gun that doesn't have a trigger safety on it, I like to know when it's unsafe. You can feel it, you can hear it, you know that it's unsafe when it's unsafe, and that's a huge positive. The grips that come on this gun are pretty basic. You know, they do have a good grip to them. They're nothing fancy. They are easy to change out, so that's no big deal. Everybody changes grips out on 1911s. I will say, you know, for being a double stack 10mm pistol, you would think that the grip would feel just massive in the hand, but me having, you know, a somewhat small to medium size hand, I actually don't have any problem with it. It fits pretty comfortably, which is actually surprising to me. I thought it was gonna, you know, feel like I was holding a brick in the hand. One of the things that people really gravitate towards with the 1911 is the trigger. And like I said before, I am an M&P guy. But still, honestly, the trigger on a 1911 can't be beat. I think over the course of 10 trigger pulls, this one averaged a little over 2 pounds. Some people may think that's a little on the light side for a gun that you might plan on carrying. I really think that what it boils down to is your own personal comfort level and how often that you train. Now, personal comfort and training are a whole different topic that we could do literally 5 or 6 videos on, but that's not going to be today. Now, Rock Island's site does have this thing listed as being shipped with a 4 to 6 pound trigger. You know, I've been using the same trigger pull gauge for a while, and it seems pretty consistent. And like I said, this one's running a little over 2 pounds with my trigger pull gauge, so who knows. So the way that a 1911 trigger works mechanically makes for an extremely accurate gun as long as you have good ammo, you have a high quality barrel, and the person holding that gun does their part. They're really accurate guns. Now, 1911s are notorious for needing constant upkeep and maintenance. So the big question is, with Rock Island Armory being a Philippine company shipping over 1911s at vastly discounted prices, how's this thing run? So my day at the range with the Rock Island Armory 10mm went pretty well. The gun ran really smooth once I kind of figured out what kind of ammo it liked and what kind of ammo it didn't like. I mean, 10mm are known for being really picky about what you feed them, but once you find the right ammo, they're amazing guns. So after spending some time with this gun, here's how I see it. Just above entry level 1911, where the manufacturer set it up for the goal of potentially being a competition use gun. Let's face it, most of us aren't ready to spend $4 grand on a gun to shoot in competition. This particular gun, with a few upgrades, a little bit of fine tuning here and there, I think it could really work well for competition shooting. I'm actually really surprised at the level of fitment between the slide and the frame. You would think for a gun coming out of the Philippines at this price range that it would be loose as hell, have a lot of wobble side to side. You know, it does have just a little bit, but come on, for the price that you can get these things for, you're not going to get a better fit. As far as the cycling goes, I didn't see any issues as far as that slight bit of movement that the slide has. It ran nice and smooth, and I really enjoyed shooting it. Now remember, this thing was made in the Philippines, and it is well under $1,000. This wasn't hand fit by one gunsmith in Texas who, builds the gun from start to finish. It's probably made on a production line that 15 or 20 guys put it together over the course of a week, and then it gets shipped to the US. I keep that in mind when I look at the way some of the blending was done. For instance, when the safety is engaged, here on this side, the back side of the safety is just a little bit sharp. Actually both sides are. It's not terrible. It's not something that's really going to rub you raw, but that's one of those things where if this were my personal gun, I'd pull that safety off and I would smooth that edge out on both sides the way that perhaps it should have been done at the factory. But again, for this price, you can't beat it. You can go ahead and upgrade this safety to something better and not even have to worry about it. Of course, with any safety upgrade, you're probably going to have to do some filing here and there. I mean, that's pretty much standard for 1911 upgrades. This ambidextrous safety, I don't feel like the platform is as wide as I would like it. And, the edge is really squared off. It's not sharp enough to, cut you, but after spending a couple hours at the range doing this on and off throughout the day, to be perfectly honest, my thumbs rubbed raw. Didn't enjoy that very much. These are just some of the things that you run into when you start getting into 1911s. Pretty much everybody that owns one, they get it in, they change the grips. Next thing, it's the grip safety, the thumb safety, they're changing triggers, changing everything. And part of that process is getting those parts in and filing down rough spots or sharp spots so they don't irritate the hand, or they just feel better overall. So if you're used to shooting 9mm, the 10mm round is massive. I actually expected this to have a lot more recoil than it did. I was pleasantly surprised. Part of that is just because the gun is so heavy. It really does absorb a lot of that recoil and keeps it shooting nice and flat. To be perfectly honest, if it wasn't for the cost of the 10mm ammo, I would definitely have one of these in my safe right now. Value-wise, this gun is where it's at. I mean, if you want to get into 1911s, you can go ahead and buy one of these Rock Island Armories. You can turn around and start throwing upgraded parts on it, have it tuned. You can go through all the stuff and still be way under some of those high-end guns that are out there. I'm serious, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 for a pistol? Like, I understand it to a certain degree when you're talking about, seriously competing in competitions, but even when you're looking at just stock 1911 pistols, it gets kind of crazy out there. But considering how well this thing functions straight out of the box, I wouldn't hesitate to buy one and then start putting the money into upgrading it. I feel like in the long run, I would save a shit ton of money over buying one that's already built. So that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below, and let me know what kind of stuff you want to see coming up in the future.